Okay, let's get going. Hello and welcome. My name is Anders Devalius and I work as creative director and programmer here at Coilworks. And this is a small series of videos that I'm going to make that covers the newly released level editor for Cloudbuilt. So let's start this up with talking about this series of videos. We'll have to see how it works out. This might be the format we go with. But if it's too messy, we will record and start editing these videos. But hopefully we can produce this a bit quickly and get them to you guys sooner if we keep to this more live stream style format. These will be uploaded here on YouTube, and we will link to them on the wiki and on Steam forums. You will probably, hopefully, not have a hard time finding them. So this is the first video, and it's about an introduction and an overview of the editor. We'll give you the basic tools for start creating your own levels. And then the second video will covering how to complete a level, giving it an intro and out to a goal, and setting up some game modes, and then publishing and importing from Steam Workshop. And then the next video will go over some tools and actions for the game. And for the editor, like tools and hotkeys and things that you will most likely use a lot. If you want to build more advanced levels, the one we're seeing here in the background, then you will need these tips and tricks because it will take too much time otherwise. And then we will start talking about the common assets in the next videos. The common assets, textures, sounds, and utilization of those assets. Like in our levels, we are not using everything. This release of the editor includes a lot of things that we only used as prototypes or was not even really meant for Cloudbuilt from the beginning. And you can use it if you want to, but there is a smaller subset with assets that we have really more fine-tuned and is meant to use for Cloudbuilt, and they're meant to be used in specific ways. So we will go over that and hopefully make it easier for you to build better levels. And talking about better levels, the next video we will be covering level design process, like how you how you start building a good level and how you iterate on it to make it look good. And yeah, some tips. You can find more about this on the internet in general when talking about game design in general, but we will try to keep it short and just cover things interesting for Cloudbuilt and teach some lessons that we found through working on the game throughout years. And the next video after that will go through advanced tips and tricks. There are quite a few things you can do in the editor. It's quite powerful once you learn it, but it's a little bit hard to get into in the beginning. And this video then will go over all those things and help you speed up the process a lot. Then, if you have any other suggestions for videos or things you want us to cover, just let us know and we can expand this list maybe a little bit further. And I will try to always answer questions, so if you write questions here in the comments, I can try to reply or take them up in the next video. And you can also always ask us questions on the Steam discussion forums or on Twitter, whatever suits you best. Okay, so that's about covered for the intro. So let's talk about this video then. It will be an overview, as I said. I'll first go over the editor, some information about the editor, and then I cover some basic interface and camera and stuff like that. Then I cover some levels and try to build a little bit of our own level and playtesting it, how you do that. And then I will talk a little bit about the state of the editor and future patches we're working on, and what we'll add or improve soon. So with that under the way, let's start out. So I have loaded previous level. This is a level from the game, and we won't be working with this. I just wanted to let you see this, and I will first go over the panel and the camera, and I thought it was good to have something in the background to do that. So up here you see the interface. Like this is called a panel, and this is a subset of tools or actions you can do to interact with the scene. And each panel is meant for different things. And in this video, we'll mostly just cover this panel. If you press on panels, you can see some other options here, like cinematics and settings. This is really important, but we will cover them more in other videos. Now we'll just focus on this panel. Okay, so the first thing you probably need to learn and get used to, and trust me, as you use the editor, you will get used to this. You don't even think about it in the long run, but that's the camera. There are quite a few options with the camera. So there are two styles of camera control. One is called the orbit camera, and one is called the free flight camera. Let's cover the orbit camera. That's more similar to how many 3D applications worked with this thing. So if it's based around, if I focus on an object orbiting like this, you're always looking at working with a specific area. How you do this is by holding down S to start the camera mode or enter the camera mode. Then your mouse button transforms into the action that actually can move the camera. So the left mouse button, as you can see, I'm pressing now, orbits the camera. The right mouse button moves it in and out, and the middle mouse button pans the camera. Now I will orbit around another position. I would recommend using this to get used to it, because when you're working with something, it's very useful to always switch angle. And doing that with a free flight camera, I will cover for soon, can get quite hard. One other important thing when working with this mode especially is the focus feature. So if you select something and you want to focus on that and work with it, just press F and you will instantly teleport there and focus the camera and zoom in and out the camera. If you select a larger object in the background, it will focus on that. If I select a smaller object, it will focus on that. And this is really useful when you're trying to get over to the other side of a large level like this. If I want to work out up here, then I'm instantly here. So another camera that's very useful is the free flight camera. It works more like the standard FPS controls. Oh, I should mention, if the frame rate seems low here, I just talk about this quickly. The editor is much more demanding than the actual level when you're playing it. And especially now, because I'm using a debug version. This is the version of the editor that you will get tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow. And we have ironed out some bugs, and it's working pretty nice in debug mode, but it's much slower than when we're releasing it. So it's working quite well, but yeah, if you see some slowdowns, don't worry. If you have a powerful computer, you should be fine. And if you have a computer that barely can run the game, you can probably build simple levels, but you won't be able to build levels like this because it will probably be too demanding. But it's also fine to work with like 10 FPS in the editor. It's not a problem as long as you can play the game when you start playtesting. Okay, so that was tangent. Let's talk about the free flight camera. You enter the free flight camera mode by pressing the left and the right mouse button at the same time. Then you can just look around and move with WASD. You can also move up and down by pressing Q and E. So this is really handy, especially if you just want to look behind you and don't care about what objects you're orbiting. And if you want to edit the start again, just press F. I'm here. Okay, so next thing is the selection tool. You've probably seen me using it now. If you just click on something, you will select it. If I drag, I will select several objects at the same time. Right. If I select several objects, you see what the one object is red here. That's called the target, and some actions will treat this object separately from the rest. But normally, when you have selection, they are all treated the same. If you have a selection and want to make another object the target, hold down Shift and press that selected object. It will turn into the target. If you want to add an object to the selection, just press on the object, hold Shift and select it. Remove an object, hold Control and click on it. You can even drag select. Okay, so that's the basic of selection. You can probably work the rest out by yourself. So next up is probably yeah, all this is hotkey driven. Like this is the selection tool. You can see it up here. Select. This is the tool I'm using. You also see in the move tool, rotate tool, and scale tool. These are the tools you use for most things, and these are the hotkeys: Q, W, E, and R. You can switch in them pretty quickly, and that's the hotkeys is pretty the preferred way, because moving up and down with the mouse all the time is not how you're supposed to use this editor, and most editors have hotkeys like this. So just get used to it. It's much easier in the long run. We also have let's start with let's get to another level, a little bit simpler level. So you can find the open scene from there, or you can press Control O, and you can see the selection of levels. And I can talk about this as well. Tomorrow, or hopefully soon at least, we will release these templates, and most of our old levels from the game for you to download and start editing and use as references or as a basis for your own levels. So the level I'm in is called Evil Shoe, and it's just a random generator name, if you wonder. It's quite a weird name. And these are the templates. So if you just select one, press load. So this is the Dawn template. It's some basic objects that make out the basic of the Dawn level. It got lighting, and it got the background, and it got the sun. And I can mention this now. If you see the sun is actually located here, but that's not how it will be when you're playing. It will be in distance. Okay, that's a detail tangent as well. So let's just open a new scene. What? That's not working apparently. So let's load the day theme. Good. Go over that bug. So this is a day theme. It got a lot of background objects. So mostly I would recommend to try to ignore these objects. And it's probably best for you to start out with a theme like this. So let's go over some visibility stuff. Or no, that's probably best to save for another video. I had planned this normally, trust me. So if you have selection and press W for the move tool, you can see that the tool object appeared. It got 3 axes, one for X, Y, Z. If you hover over one, you see it turning yellow. That indicates that it's selected. You can select many at the same time, and if you press down and drag, you'll be able to move the objects. If you select 2 at a time and drag, you can move it on 2 of them, and of course, if you select all 3, you can move it freely. But it's easy to lose control this way because it is a 3D world, so it's hard to judge how you're actually moving it. So that's the move tool, and so then we have a translation tool, a rotation tool. If it's actually, you select an axis to rotate around, and then just drag left and right to rotate. And if you press Control D or press the button here, duplicate, you will be able to duplicate objects and just move them around. So yeah, you can build platforms like this and rotate them, and then have a scale tool. You can't scale many assets, but these things are called level blocks, and you can scale them, and you do that with scale tool. You scale them quite freely, but and this is what will make out most of the level. Then you cover it up with other stuff to make it look good, but most levels are based on blocks. So if we create something like this, rotate it up and scale it up, now we have a very, very basic level. So next, let's go over that's I had wrote on this my sheet list here. Create a simple level. So play around with these blocks and create a simple level. And yeah, something like this. So if you want to play this level now, you can press panel and then press play F5. So if I press F5, you will be able to play the level. It will load for a while. This goes faster after the first time. Oh, I'm in the game. Play like normally. If there is one problem here though, if you run up to the wall and try to run, you can't run on it. If you walk over an edge, you will not grab onto it. So to be able to do that, there is something called abstracts. You press a filter and show abstracts. So it's actually off sync even now. That's good. So normally a level is covered in these abstracts. This describes the level to the player and how to interact with it. And you can generate these on your own by pressing abstract and generate abstracts. Now if we press F5 again, we can play the level. And now we will grab onto edges and you will be able to run on walls. So if something is not working as you expected with wall running or edge grabbing, just remember to regenerate abstracts. And you should probably do that every time right before you finish a level. Make sure it's always in sync. Okay, so that's the basic for interactions. Now let's go over some objects. If you want to build this level and make it look like something, you probably need objects in it. And this is called asset sets. If you press this button, add asset, you'll get a list of all the assets available. Let's make it a little bit larger. If you press this eye symbol, you can change how it is visualized. So select grid, and you will see, select large grid, you will see all the assets. There's quite a lot of assets. Actually, I think I counted them to be above 1,000 assets. So it can be hard to learn them all, and that's why we have a video later on dedicated to just learning what assets to really use. So let's go with a simple bamboo plant here. Move it up, and if you just double click it and then select press something in the open space on the surface or open space, you will place the item. Do it again. So you press add, select it, nothing happens. You can see I can select multiple objects actually. So let's do that and then select pixel selection. Press somewhere and it will spawn there. Let's place them apart. And you can of course duplicate these as well. Okay, let's play and check them out. Some objects have physics like this, and some have not. So they should behave like you expect them to. And yeah, but that's not very exciting. Let's add an enemy. So if you select up here the filter, you can type. It's actually, if you can say it, it's selected by default as soon as you open. So if you just open add menu and start typing turret, and you can see a turret. Turret.cva. That's the standard turret. Just place it down, rotate it up, and start play. So that's the basics of enemies as well. All objects have properties. I won't go into many details here, but if you select an object and right click, you can, if you select the most top option here, you will open up the properties list for this. You can see turret.cva, that's the type. Here's the name. You can edit the name if you want to. It's probably best for you to name important objects so you can find them easier later on. Because if I name this turret1, and you can see some stats here. You can edit this, but these are the defaults that is used in the game normally, but you can create some weird turrets. So let's change some values here. This was popular last time, so okay, and change one more thing. Change the damage to 1. So we're playing. Yeah, 1 damage is quite a lot when they're shooting like that. Yeah, so we can play around with this. This should be all the basics. Yeah. So if you select this, you get many things are named weird things. Like if you type walker, this is the arachnoid from the game, but it's called walker here. So many of the names or the assets are not what you might expect, because these are the working names we used when we built the game, and we sadly can't change that now. So you will have to learn the things. If you don't want to use things from the DLC and you have a DLC, just press on minus button and select DLC 2. Then it will filter out all objects related to DLC 2. That's probably all for now. Oh, and more things don't have physics on them. So if you just move it up like that, it can actually stand like that when you're playing. Okay, so let's go over to talking about the state of the editor and some patches. So this editor, like I said, is the debug version, so it's a bit better than the one you're having right now. And we know there are some serious issues with the level editor right now that you have released. Among some problems is with the publishing of levels and actually crashing when loading some levels, and the metadata for levels easily get corrupted. And we have solved most of that in this version, and we are working to solve a couple of more of those issues before we release this version, hopefully tomorrow. And we have also solved some problem with loading custom levels in the game. And for the future, after this, we have a lot of things I want to work on. I think the list is well about 20 things that I want to adjust. Some are smaller, some are larger, and there might be even more. And if you have any suggestions or questions, like I said before, just let us know, and we can consider it. So yeah, that's all for now. See you all in the next video, and let's talk about how to build a little bit level and completing a level, how to publish it, and how to import levels that you can download from the Steam Workshop. So, bye.